Cool. That's it. We're on. So, hello everyone. Hope everyone's happy, healthy, well. I know Tom will cringe when I say that because I've said it so many times in meetings before, but nevertheless. Obviously, we have Tom with us today. We're just having a quick catch-up call, but we thought it might be cool to record it so you guys can actually see what he's been up to and keep in contact with him a bit. So, Tom's currently in the northeast. Is that right?
Yeah, Redcar, just outside North Yorkshire.
Very good. He's been sending us a fair few photos of him walking on the beach, just kind of in beautiful countryside instead of stuck in a house with no one around. Anyway, nevertheless, for you guys who don't know Tom or haven't met Tom yet, Tom's one of our soft tissue therapists at Goose Lane, Hollands Lane Clinic. We've just been doing a stretch course, haven't we, online, me, Tom and Brooke, which went okay, other than forgetting to record it and literally running out of time right at the very end, but that seems to go all right. But Tom's background's mostly in, or has been anyway, you're in football, Sheffield Football Club, aren't you? So,
yep.
Yeah, do you want to say a little bit about that, how you got into it? Or
So when I graduated, started emailing everybody in England to try and get a job. Managed to land one at Gateshead Football Club, which gave me some great experience with their academy, and then managed to get myself a job with the first team at Sheffield FC. Been there 3 years now. Well, this would have been our third season, but it's been cancelled. But yeah, no, it's been good.
So when do you actually think all this is going to kick back up again, football-wise and everything? Because it's a weird climate we're in at the minute, isn't it?
It looks like, obviously, all our levels have been cancelled indefinitely, so we're done till next season, which hopefully would be pre-season in July. Looks like the top 4 leagues in England will be going back behind closed doors, potentially in July, to finish the season. I think there's a lot of stuff in the works. They don't want to cancel the season. I think they are looking at money more than anything, but there's billions of pounds involved if the season's cancelled.
Obviously, when you're working with them, it's not just injury prevention. You're doing a lot of the sports stuff. That's like when we're working with the sports guys as well. But like, what do you reckon's going to happen? Do you reckon they'll come back come back stronger with this? Do you reckon they'll start using your time to do more performance work, or do you reckon everyone will just have a rest and come back next season? Or?
Yeah, I mean, obviously for our lads, because we know we're done, there's not going to be a lot happening now. It's difficult at best of times for some of them to do their exercises at home. A lot of them rely on the sessions we have at the club. So some of them will be keeping very fit, some of them less so. I know professionals have been sent gym equipment from the clubs to be making sure they're staying fit. The only problem is there's a difference between fitness and match fitness, and you can't practice match fitness without having matches. So it's going to be odd, I think, when they come back, depending on how quickly they come back to training, then into matches. But everyone's in the same situation. So I think the players will be less fit for the top 4 leagues when they come back, because they just can't replicate that quick, fast-paced action at home.
I mean, one thing that I keep talking about when I'm chatting to various guys I'm working with is that even though we're in a crisis, there was a beautiful quote I heard the other day, which was, crisis is change waiting to happen, and it's very true. So it's going to be a nice reset for a lot of sporting guys at the minute to actually recover if they use that time correctly. So I think that's the same for a lot of people, even the general, like our general community base that we see. Like, if people are looking after themselves in this time, we'll probably come back stronger anyway, because we've got a lot of time now, opportunity to work on themselves. So I think there is some. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen with all the sports guys when everything fires back up again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, top leagues, you've got Tottenham, who have got their 2 best players injured, and they would have been injured for the rest of the season. And that's massive for them, because they really rely on these 2 players. They'll probably be back by the time we come back. So they've got 10 games that they wouldn't have those players, that will be with those players. So there are some teams, I think for sports people who are specifically injured, it's going to be beneficial for them, because they're going to do the rehab anyway, and they're not going to miss any games.
Yeah.
So I think in that sense, yeah, I think like I say, it's just the match fitness, which is it's difficult to replicate outside of matches.
How? Because I know you're all really deep into all this, aren't you? So you're basically looking after all aspects of the medical side for your team, aren't you? So
Yeah.
are you having to design plans and stuff for your players specifically, or what's going on at that point?
Yeah, so we've got it's a little bit different at semi-professional because there's an onus on them anyway to be doing their own exercise outside of club, because we only train potentially twice a week and play once a week, or train once a week and play twice a week, and it's difficult to do that. I do set out recovery plans. If they need fitness plans, I'm there for them. The thing is, with these lads, they've all been doing it for a long time. They know what works for them. And at our level, I think it's more about making sure they stay as fit as they can, but with what works for them. So I don't want to come in and shake it up for them. If they know what works for them, I'd rather just let them get on with it. Like I said, there's a difference between us at semi-professional and the professionals. The professionals rely heavily on the staff to do all this stuff, and then they just focus on the football. But with our lads, there's more of an onus on them to be looking after themselves. So there's lads who I know who will have been exercising at home, running when they can, and then some of the lads, they might need help. And I had a few players who we were looking at long-term injuries who we can kind of relax now and just let them get on with their rehab, because there's no pressure, because we won't be playing the league game until August, hopefully.
Crazy. Like, I know we're like in the third week of isolation. It feels like months.
Yeah,
months. Like, and when people, especially when you talk about schools and stuff, and kids not going back until like next year now, you think.
I know. I've been saying to Abby, I'm so glad we haven't got school-aged kids, because I can't imagine what it's like to have to entertain them and educate them at the same time, and then try and keep yourself sane.
It's probably, I mean, obviously Rose is not at school yet. She's not even 2 yet, but it's going to be hard kind of trying to manage and juggle stuff. Do you know what I mean? As in, like, probably work schedules and home life and all that sort of stuff. It's crazy. The one, to be fair, yet again, kids aren't, I know a lot of people are looking at it like it's crap because they're missing out on a year or, a year of life in school, but they're never going to have this time again where it's just full on family contact. I know for some people that might not be amazing, but that is such a gift as well. It's incredible. It's really, really incredible.
Yeah, you've got to look at positives with this. Like I say, it's given me 4 or 5 weeks to spend with Abby that I wouldn't get. So I know it's obviously it's a horrible situation, and we don't want to be in this situation. But if you can't if you can't find positives, then what can you do?
She ain't killed you yet, then?
Not yet, but it's getting that
way. You're doing more walks on the beach on your own instead this time.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So obviously you've seen the messages coming through from emails and all that sort of stuff, and then people message you on the phone. But we're having a few people talk about potentially getting inflamed or not, or whatever else while we're off, not able to get to them. So you were chatting to me beforehand about cryotherapy and stuff that you might want to talk through. Do you have a run through that so we can try and give a little bit of information, so just listen to me and you ramble on a bit? Or
Yeah. So if you have been exercising and you've pulled something, or you've knocked something, or something's not feeling right, obviously you go to what we call RICE, which is rest, ice, compression, elevation, which is great to be working with. However, if there's a new system that we use now, which is the anagram of police, which is protection, which is obviously if you've pulled your calf on a run, you normally spend that first 72 hours less weight bearing, and just letting it do its thing. Then we go to optimal load, which is the main difference between RICE and police. Optimal load just means that as you're going through your recovery period, you just need to be putting as much load through that muscle as it will take. So it's taking away the rest, and it's more an active rest. So obviously if you can't do a single leg calf raise if you pulled your calf, for example, but you can do a double leg calf raise, then the calf is able to do that, so it should be doing that. That just means that you're not spending 3-4 weeks with an immobilized muscle, which then puts you 3-4 weeks behind. If you get moving early and you can to what you can withstand, then the healing rate is just going to go through the roof. So it's that optimal load, and then you've got your ice compression elevation. So icing, go on, sorry.
Go on, you crack on, go for it.
The icing 15 to 20 minutes. You can do that on the hour. That's just for your control of inflammation, along with compression and then elevation, which again controls the swelling.
I mean, when we've just been doing that movement session as well, people are asking about what's the best thing to do if they have a flare up or a niggle or a pull or whatever it is, and people really don't get that movement is key. Like, the brain is such a sensory organ, and it's more sensory than it is motor, and it's constantly feeding information. But it needs information through movement and sensation to be able to then control the rest of its function. So not only does like movement help stop collagen from being built up in the wrong places and shunt blood and control inflammation, but it's physically that healing response, like you just said, which is completely regulated by the brain. But if there's incorrect or high or low information going to that region, that just completely messes up the system, doesn't it?
Yeah, so that's where that word optimal comes in. You've got to find the area that between doing nothing and doing a little bit too much. And I think it's without having the ability to come and see one of us. I mean, people know their body more than anyone else could, and they can know it's perception of pain as well. I think you need to know that having pain doesn't necessarily mean that things are becoming worse. And it's just finding that optimum load to put through the muscle or the joint.
The pain as well. I mean, like you just hit the nail on the head there. Pain is just a system to say something's not connected, something's not working, or we need to protect that region. So body puts pain to brain to say, no, look after this a little bit more. But at the same time, if it is held for so long and not move, that sensitivity level just keeps going up and up and up. So movement does help desensitize the pain system. And it's massive as well for massage. I mean, the amount of sensory bombardment from a massage is just huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
yeah, massive increase of that proprioception. And obviously, the more signals you can get, the more the brain's going to know what's going on and send that information down for healing. So you need to keep that information going on. And like you say, if you pull a muscle and then stop moving it for 6 weeks, the signals go down and you don't get as much healing because it's just the brain's not getting the information that it needs.
Crazy. So what's the plans then? What are you doing now? What are you going to do for the next week or so?
We've been exercising a lot, home workouts. Abby's big on more weight-based exercises, circuit kind of stuff. So I've got myself into that. Having a run now and again when she's working. Your
face when you said that, I've got myself into that. It was a definite Abby is making.
I love it. I do really enjoy doing it. Hate it when I'm doing it, but you just feel so much better when you do. And then when you see results, it's even better. But yeah, it's different. I'm always used to cardio-based workouts, obviously through football and team sports. So it's a bit different for me. I'm more set up for endurance rather than strength. But it's nice to do new things.
That comment's going to come back and bite in the ass. How is that anyway? Does she work for the NHS or?
Not anymore. She works for a charity called The Junction, which is works with children's mental health.
Oh, cool.
So she's been doing a lot of work from home, a lot of phone call stuff, video conferences, stuff like that. So she can do most of her job from home, so that helps keeping her busy. We've been playing a lot of Scrabble. We got to a point yesterday where the sun was shining big time. We needed something to do, so we ended up putting 2 buckets at one end of the lawn and throwing a ball into them so you can get to 5 first. which actually we're looking forward to playing again. So
You do
that's
realise
cool.
we are expecting the longest riddle list when you get back as well.
Yeah, I'll have to get back on it. Yeah.
People won't realise, but we call Tom the Riddler, or Tom Riddle, or whatever you want to say. But every Friday, he's always got a riddle for brief when we sat there, which usually confuses the crap out. Actually, Jordan has managed to crack it the last few times, hasn't she? So.
Yeah, she's very good. It's quite annoying.
Cool, man. Well, thank you for the call, and enjoy throwing your ball in a bucket.
Will do. It's a good game.
Is there anything you want to say to everyone before you go?
Just like I say, follow the guidelines. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Keep moving. Don't let yourself get out of habits of moving. Don't sit down all day. Just keep moving. Keep yourself in a routine if you can. And if you need anything, then we're all here. So feel free to message in.
Cool, man. Right, keep safe. See you in a bit, bud.
Will do. Lovely. See you soon.